Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I appreciate you joining me today. The topic that we're going to talk about today is what if you treated your career like a business? You had monthly, quarterly reviews. You had a day that was just set aside for strategy, review, and analysis on a reoccurring basis to really set you up for success moving forward. So what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to check in, make sure you're staying on track, figure out trends that are not going well or going well, and really identify what's working strategically and actionably and what's not. And it's going to allow you to pivot quickly and adapt. I have said in so many videos, and I continue to say it to so many clients, the best thing you can learn to do is to be adaptable. And I know that that's, a buzzword that everybody gets hung up on and this and that. And really what I mean by that is just be willing to change, be willing to fail fast and pivot, or be willing to succeed and press the pedal harder down on whatever that's working. So it doesn't really matter which aspect it is, success or failure, but being willing to adapt and admit and analyze and pivot or just continue going forward full steam ahead. And so what I like to do here is, first and foremost, you have a bunch of different kind of applications and tools that we can leverage here. We're going to get to those secondarily. But first, I want to talk about, before we get to what tools and things to use and track, what we're actually looking for. So every so often, like I said, you can start out very, very small. Something like weekly or monthly would be the two immediate intervals I can do if this is a whole new concept to you that you're not really someone who is prone to or successful in planning and thinking and moving forward. Start small. That's the key, right? And technically even just start daily. Hey, can you successfully plan a day? If you were to sit down in the morning and go, here's the 4 things I'm going to get done today. Can you do that? Yes or no? Okay. To get to the concept we're talking about, you at least have to answer yes to that question consistently. So I'm going to assume you can plan a day. So then what you're looking at is, what about over a week? What is the goal of this week? What will I consider this week to be successful? What is that end result? And so this could be something along the lines of, okay, I want to have worked out 4 times. I want to invest 5 hours in learning a new skill, and I want to have completed every job objective that's assigned to me right now. Everything that's currently open, I will have closed. It could be something simple like that, those 3 things. Map that out, turn those into actions. Okay, what does that mean that you need to do? How do you spread out your time? Do you dedicate entire days to things? Whatever. And then at the end of the week, was it yes or was it no? And if it's no, then you figure out why. And if it's due to some of the things we've talked about before around wasting time or moving focus too much, or, hey, I ended up spending so much more time on these other 3 things that weren't part of those initial ones I identified. Okay, well, why? Could you have said no to those things? Have you learned to say no? So on and so forth. So you want to learn to, like I said, I'm going to assume you know how to plan a day and you can plan a day successfully. But can you plan a week? And then can you plan a month? And once you get to the monthly stage where you can relatively consistently look at the last 30 days of your life and go, okay, I achieved what I wanted to. I've kept up the habits I wanted to. I've kept up the themes. I like the way my time is being distributed, so on and so forth. At that point, we're going to implement the focus of today's video, which is calling the CEO day. Like I said, we're going to try to look at your life and treat it like a business, and on a reoccurring basis, strategically look at what's working, what's not, and adapting. And so the objective of your CEO day is 3 things. And this should either be monthly or quarterly, but you have to at least know how to be successful in relatively planning to that level of extent of a future. And so what we're looking at is, what were your wins and what were your challenges? And again, these should be tangible things that you can, kind of touch and taste. And so this could actually be a given metric. Hey, I wanted to have 10% more followers on my YouTube channel, or subscribers on my YouTube channel. Or I wanted to have recognition at least twice from my boss that I've been doing good work. I wanted to make sure that I averaged working out 4 days a week for that entire month. Like whatever it is. Again, this is a agnostic system that, while we are framing this in the portion of career, because theoretically that's why you're here and you're watching my video, but this is really something that can adapt to any aspect of your life. So what went well? And then on the other side of, what were your challenges, right? Man, I continually was distracted and pulled in the direction over here. There continued to be a lot of unforeseen things that came into my life whether it be around the house or whether it be at work or from my boss or whatever. Just looking at what your challenges were. Or on the flip side, let's use some of the examples we said in the wins. I didn't hit my 4 workouts a week. I only got 2. I didn't get praised twice from my boss. I only got it once. Or I didn't complete my weekly objectives every single week. I only did it 2 out of the 4. And the other 2, I didn't hit them. And what we're trying to distill is the why on both sides of this equation. So when you look at your wins, why did you win? How did you win? What went into making those successful? Was it the fact that you time blocked correctly? Was it the fact that you cut out distractions? Was it just the fact that, hey, you implemented a new system the month before and that new system is working? So look at and analyze the why and how behind the wins. Do the same concept for the challenges. So you only got one piece of recognition from your boss. Why? Okay, well, I only did half of my objectives that I wanted to in terms of, or at least 2 out of the 4 weeks that I meet my actual weekly goals. So maybe that's why. So if I simply went to all 4 weeks within the month, then maybe that would give me my 2 times of recognition. Now the question is then, why didn't you meet those 2 weeks? Was it again because you maybe were distracted or because you didn't have a clear objective? You didn't focus enough. Your systems weren't in place. You weren't organized, whatever it might be. But the key is identifying the why and the how. Those are the 2 aspects behind both. So that way you can continue to repeat what went into your wins and you can fix what presented your challenges. Okay. So that's objective number 1 on this day. Objective number 2, goal review and reset. So what I mean by this is when you're looking at what the goal was over the last month or the last quarter, did you meet them? And sometimes these goals extend much longer than this time horizon of which you're kind of reviewing and looking at things. So this is where a level of reset comes in. Is sometimes the reset is going to be yes, and sometimes the reset's going to be no. So for instance, if you are like, hey, I want to, let's just say, get a 10% raise this year. Okay, I doubt you're going to achieve that in a month, right? So that's going to be, are you continuing to meet those above and beyond goals that whatever we've identified or you've identified with your manager or leader that's going to get you that 10% raise or get you that promotion or whatever? Did you meet those or did you not? Right? That's what you're looking at here. It's not that did you get the end result of the 10% raise, because that's going to extend much longer. Or again, using fitness as an example. Hey, did I gain 10 pounds of muscle? Did I lose the 10 pounds I wanted? Like whatever it is, in either direction, again, did you meet it or did you not? And then here's the thing. If you met the goal, then the question is, do you need to meet that again? Like, is it something to where now consistency is the key? Hey, I average 4 workouts a week. Now I need to make sure that I do that again the next month and the next month, and then I'll move on and swap out that goal. Or, hey, I got my 2 recognitions from my boss. I'm going to do it again the next month and the next month. Or let's just say that it was something along the lines of, hey, I want to make sure that I am completing my projects this month consistently every single week. And you do that, and then you swap it out for another one. Okay, so I'm consistently meeting my deadlines and I'm consistently meeting completion. Now I need to work on developing project management skills. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend an hour a day taking a Udemy course to invest in developing the project management skill. Awesome. I'm going to do that for the next month. The course is actually it's a 60-hour course. So this is actually going to be 2 months. But by the end of this month, I should be 30 hours in, whatever it is. Again, defining this. So sometimes on the goal review and reset, it's not always going to be replacing. You can have carryover goals, but you don't want carryover goals because you didn't do them. So if you didn't complete them and you didn't do them, then again, it's just like the wins and challenges. How and why, right? And then you can either try to make it up the next month once you've identified the how and the why, or at the very least, just fully execute. Okay, so be okay with sometimes having to extend that time horizon of, I need to do this thing for 6 months. So it might stay in your goals for 6 months or 2 quarters or whatever it is. That's okay. But as long as it's there because the longevity or consistency is required, is needed. And then at the same time, when you are replacing or resetting because you completed something, then give yourself a moment of gratitude. Pat yourself on the back. Like really revel in the fact that, oh my gosh, every single week for 12 weeks straight, if it's a quarter, or 4 weeks straight, I got all of my objectives done every single day. That is incredible, right? Like be grateful for that. Recognize that. And then the third thing that might come into play that you're looking for is, are the actions I'm taking still the biggest rocks moving towards my goal? So again, good old Pareto principle, right? So you're 20% of effort for 80% of return. Am I doing the things that are giving me the 80% return? So you could have a swap out for this as well. So again, if we're looking to get that boss recognition, maybe he's not, necessarily someone that recognizes you for simply doing your work, but he's someone that recognizes you for going above and beyond and making a customer impact and getting customer reviews. Okay, so now you're not going to do necessarily, hey, I want to make sure I get all my objectives and things done for the next 4 weeks. But instead, I'm going to ask every single client for feedback and review on every single call that I'm doing, or every single ticket that I complete, or whatever your stakeholder interaction is, that maybe that's what's going to elicit your boss's reaction. That's the goal of this month. So you got to look at what the biggest rocks are that are going to be moving towards the goals you're shooting for, and did you meet those? The last thing is skill inventory. So again, do you have the skills that you need to fulfill the goals, to get the reward and achieve the results that you need? Or do you need to take some classes, go get a certification, read some books, listen to podcasts, whatever it might be? So this is the last component of that CEO day. So you are looking at your skills and going, do I still have the skills to achieve set goal that I'm working for? Or do I need to now maybe swap one of my goals or change one of my goals to developing a particular skill to set me up for the next goal in the next month or the next quarter or whatever your interval is of which you're evaluating yourself? And again, the way you develop these skills is going to be whatever modality works best for you. Like I said, I'm someone who I firmly believe that hitting multiple learning centers from visual to auditive to hands-on and figuring out what combination therein works for you is absolutely the key for you to learning new skills. So figure out if you have any deficiencies that you need to true up, or on the flip side, what strengths do you maybe need to continue to leverage and, put the pedal to the metal in order to achieve what you're looking to achieve. So you have 3 objectives on the CEO day to recap, right? So you're going to reflect on your wins and your challenges, identify the how and the why behind both, reflect on your goals, and did you meet them? Did you not meet them? The how and the why behind both. And are the goals that you're setting for the next month, some of them might be carryover because you need consistency and longevity. Are they being replaced because you now have something that moves you more towards the goal that you're looking for? Or did you have carryover because you didn't complete it? And how are you going to make sure to catch back up the next month? So, and then the last thing is the skills inventory. So based off of the goal that you're working towards and whatever you're tracking, do you have the skills needed in order to acquire those goals? And you could do this through a variety of frameworks. So you could do journaling here. So this could be something that if you're meeting or kind of reviewing with yourself, I guess, on a monthly basis or quarterly basis, do journaling daily or weekly. And not a whole lot, we're talking like 5-10 minutes, nothing super crazy. Don't feel like this is going to be this crazy draining task. It's going to consume a bunch of time. You can do it that way. You could do a SWOT analysis. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And the key thing to remember about a SWOT analysis is your strengths and weaknesses are identified about you in this case. So what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses internal to you and your achievement? Opportunities and threats are outside of you. So opportunities are what do you need to go after that you're currently not pursuing in route of that goal. And threats are going to be what is harming you from the outside or preventing you from achieving those things. So that's another framework. You could also just leverage a matrix. So I'm someone who I use the Eisenhower matrix for prioritization. So I more ask a simple question of simply, did I accomplish the priority tasks that I needed to over this simple time? And so I have, highest priority, high priority, medium, and then low. And where I define each one is you have to break down the combination of urgent versus important. And important is going to be something that really moves the rock. Again, it's that Pareto principle concept. I'm getting 80% return for 20% of effort. Urgent is something that might need to be jumped on immediately, but it's not necessarily a big mover. And so think of an example, something like responding to an email. That's usually going to be something that's urgent. It's quick. You should be doing it. But it's not necessarily going to sit there and move the needle or be this grandiose opportunity, where something that's important might be learning that new skill. It might be, did I take the class or do the hour of learning today for project management to work me towards that, right? That's going to actually be something super, super important down the line. So there's multiple frameworks on how to assess yourself on this monthly basis. What works for you is, again, what you'll have to figure out. There's really not necessarily a black and white box of this is the method to the madness that everybody should use. It truly is a level of trial and error. Again, this CEO day, you are the CEO. Think about this from a company perspective. That was our original analogy. Almost every company is different. Their cultures are different. Their reviews are different. The way that they go about their strategy is different. It's all of this constant amalgamation that is different amongst every single company. That's why there's market differentiation. So figuring out the formula for you is actually the key here. And this might take you a few months or a few quarters. But what I would say is whatever is allowing you to succeed on that daily or weekly basis, that was the prerequisite of the monthly or quarterly, expand on that. So whatever methodology you're looking at doing for both the accomplishment and the review on the daily and weekly, carry that success over into just the larger scope of monthly or quarterly. And the last thing that you're really trying to do as well is planning for that next month or quarter. And so again, it's when you're looking at your goal review and your reset, then you're breaking those down into what are the actions? What is the time allocated? What money do I need to spend? Do I need to network with people? Do I need to learn a skill that's going to take an hour a day or 3 hours a day or whatever it is? And this is where you are going to break those goals down into actionable items and milestones so that you can track on a more granular basis and a regular basis of how to do this. And are you doing it? All right. So full recap on what your CEO day is it's really looking to do 3 things. You're reflecting on your wins and challenges, looking at your goal reviews and resetting. You're looking at your skills. You're using a couple different frameworks, potentially SWOT analysis, journaling, Eisenhower matrix, whatever it might be. And then you're planning for that next goal set for monthly or quarterly or whatever interval you're doing. Okay, so now we're getting into kind of the tools or spreadsheets or things like that to use. So I myself am a combination of, you've heard me about, say this multiple times, so you're probably sick of it at this point, but TickTick is my lifesaver. That and Excel spreadsheets. Those are my 2 things that I really use by and large. In my day job, from a career perspective, I also leverage JIRA from a project management perspective. And I leverage a couple different kind of dashboards and visuals from there. So I'd use a combination of Kanban boards as well as swim lanes and waterfall diagrams. So it depends on what the project is and what makes the most sense, but that's kind of what I use in my day job as well. And again, this is going to be figuring out the combination of things that work for you. And so when I'm looking at my TickTick scenario, it's split into kind of 2 different categories, right? I have my reoccurring stuff. So things that I should be doing either daily, weekly, or monthly, I have those programmed in there. So I have the reminders, and it's very easy. Did I do them? Plain and simple, black and white. And then I have my overall backlog. So it's continuing to overall grow to some extent, but in the way I actually measure success from a backlog standpoint to some degree is it staying the same quantitatively? Not necessarily is it the same tasks, right? Because you're going to have a never-ending form of progress. So just because you knocked off 40 things of your, to-do list or whatever you need to do over the last month, it's not unreasonable that you're going to replace them with another 40, right? It is going to be this never-ending concept. While life itself is a finite game, playing it is infinite. And so you should expect that kind of the number to somewhat be the same. And this is why also narrowing that scope of saying, here's the 3 things or the 4 things or the 2 things or whatever it is that I'm working towards and working on is also actually key, because then you know that, great, while I have another 50 things to do this month, they are the next evolution of working towards those 3 things that I've identified. So I'm a big fan of TickTick. Like I said, at my day job, I use JIRA. I've also used Monday.com. I've also used Trello. I've heard great things about Notion. I haven't tried it. I've heard Notion is a phenomenal thing that can both be a documentation source and a progress source. I've heard a lot of people comment very good. I just haven't gotten around to trying it. Also, big calendar person as well. From Outlook is what I use there. So it's really finding the tool set combination that works for you. And then on the spreadsheet side is where I'm tracking a couple different things. So I have my business metrics. That's where I have a portion of that going. I also have a financial tracker where I have a single spreadsheet that consolidates all of my financials. And am I seeing progress? Am I seeing myself move in the direction and the gains that I want? Right. And some of that is, again, you need to get a little bit nuanced, because like the finance one is a great example where, because there's investments in there that are out of my control from a market perspective, I might have an overall financial loss, but I might actually have a cash flow increase or a liquid asset increase, right? So something to where the long-term stuff, it's exactly that. It's long-term. I've identified it as long-term. So its fluctuations on a month-by-month basis, I don't care about, right? But my immediate liquid assets, those are really what I care about on a month-to-month basis. So there's also a level of nuance here when you're analyzing your goals and your KPIs. But this goes back to a theme that I have said over and over and over again, that you need to break every aspect of your life down into mini actions and micro actions. And that's how you can measure your actual success or not. Or KPIs. Again, I want to grow my business by 20% this year. Very, very tangible. It's going to be black or white at the end of the year, December 31st, 2025. Did I do it? Did I not? Spreadsheet's not going to lie to me. So this is, like I said, it's about you finding your tool set. I cannot push TickTick enough. You can do 80, 90% of the achievement and the greatness of that app with the free version. It costs nothing. You could also look up a second brain application template, because that's how I look at it. And it will literally give you a rundown of everything you should be programming in there. And I'm not kidding. When I literally have my daily stuff, like take my supplements, did I work out? Did I do my Pomodoro cycles? How many Pomodoro cycles did I do? Down to my monthly stuff of reconcile your finances, reconcile the P&L, finish your taxes, so on and so forth, right? Like all of those are in there, everything that's just reoccurring. So all I have to do is put brain power to execution. I'm not putting brain power into what I'm doing, except on this kind of CEO day concept, right? Of what is next? What is the next set of things? And so for me right now, my next CEO day is going to be in April 1st. It's going to be the end of Q1. And it's going to be because I've gone through the changes that I need to. And my theory of mind right now is that come April 1, I'm going to be in a state where I have my systems in place. I have my processes in place. I've changed all the things I need to change. Now I just need to show up and execute every single day, day after day after day after day. From my business perspective, because I'm not focusing so much more time in changing and making a lot of effort here, I can shift that into personal life. And then from my career perspective, that's still going to be a split of about an hour a day learning skills, because I do have about 215 more hours of training that I have allotted for the day job career that I need to go through this year across the actual job. It's or in addition to the job itself. So I'll be doing about an hour a day of learning for that, and then also the job execution. And again, I'm tracking all of this in the software, dashboards, etc., all along the way. So that's what I'm looking for on my CEO day. Am I meeting the metrics? Am I on track? And if I'm not on track, is that also intended, right? Because again, we're not necessarily looking for even distribution here. So if I only accomplished 50% of my skill learning goals for my career in Q1, if I'm planning on doing 150% of that in Q2, then I can make up for it, right? So there's that level of this as well. So giving some kind of personal examples here of both clients that I've worked with and myself. So I can look at this from myself. I just gave a couple different ones there, right? So my next one is going to be Q1, April 1st. And so I'm going to look at, am I correct? Like, what was my overall goal correct? That I've accomplished my changes, I've accomplished my big efforts, and now what I need to do business-wise is show up, execute, and deliver nothing but the best for my clients. Divert the relationship or the time I was spending extra there into my relationship and my marriage. And then when it comes to my career, am I still on track? Am I on board with moving to that VP or C-level area? Those are my 3 high-level goals. Can I answer yes to those? Okay, now I go to the next level, which is when I look at my TickTick. Did I leverage my Pomodoro cycles appropriately? Am I doing the right times there? Was I consistently hitting my daily, weekly, and monthly reoccurring goals? Yes or no? No, why? Okay, now the actions that I'm taking, because I'm shifting much more to an execution phase, am I doing the right actions consistently and reviewing those on that ongoing basis? So giving you a hyper specific recent example. one of the things that I completed very recently was a full website redo. And this was a big initiative. It was content changes, SEO changes. It was going page by page by page, broken links, performance, backend code, all of it. And so what I really wanted to look at is, and then this one, because this was my first real website revamp, I didn't know exactly what specific numbers to pick. So I picked more of trends. Am I getting more traffic? Are people on my site for longer? Am I able to identify hot areas, or like using a heat map? Am I able to identify places where people go to my website frequently? And am I actually ranking for the keywords that I choose to, that I'm desiring to rank for? Right. And all 4 of these trends moved in the right direction. So I'm like, sweet. Now I get an idea when it came to my traffic, for instance. So my traffic is growing at about 15% month over month. Okay, awesome. So now that gives me some level of predictability. So now I get to say the next month, hey, did I get 15% still? Was my bounce rate the same? My SEO rankings, are they the same? Or did I decrease on some and increase on others? Like, what's happening there from an SEO perspective? Are people going to the areas on my site that I want them to, because those are what lead to value driving to them? On the career side, right? So this was one where, because I'm relatively new at my latest job, have been here a little less than 6 months, what I am looking for is, am I clearing the plate? By the end of Q1, I'm hoping that the current project load is completed. Okay, awesome. Do I have growth maps for all of my people? Do I have a leadership philosophy coming in? This is going to be what I'm looking at on April 1st is, have I completed my leadership philosophy and department culture presentation and action plan? Do I have growth maps delivered to everybody that they're agreed to and what those rewards are going to be? Do I have my project plate clear and I'm ready to start the next set of initiatives? Have I met with all of the key stakeholders that I need to from a relationship building standpoint, right? Okay, now, awesome. What's next? A couple clients that I've worked with recently, right? So I've had a couple clients now that are long-term customers. So we did a bunch of coaching purchases early on, and then we're just kind of divvying them up over the years because none of my stuff expires. So I've had a couple people that purchased 10 or more hours up front. Boom. Okay. So what we're doing there is we're just kind of using them as needed. So initially it was for job search strategy component. So we got them their new job. Awesome. Now that we got in there, let's build a 30, 60, 90-day plan. Okay, now that we have accomplished that, how do you feel about the next 9 months to achieve your first year? And one of them was like, I'm good on that front. Second one was like, okay, I definitely need some help. So on that, that's where we built some accountability systems. Sweet. So the next 9 months, here's what we're going to do. From month 3 to 6, this is going to be building upon the small wins that you got, but it's also going to be learning different aspects of the business. It's going to be meeting with other leaders because this person was a manager. So other divisional and departmental managers that were on the same lateral as them, and seeing how maybe their department can affect the other departments there. So you're going to do this by meeting with every single leader. You're going to pick one leader a week. By the end of the quarter, you'll have met with everybody you needed to or that were intending to, and you'll have a couple weeks left in order to devise into a plan. What are the potential big rocks and action items that you could do with meeting along those? Then from the 6 to 12 months is going to be executing those plans that we developed cross-departmentally and the things you've identified internally in the department's function that you have right now as well. And so this is going to build your political capital. It's going to build your overall impact on the business, and it's going to set you up that come review time, you could say, look, here's all the wins I've gotten both internally to my department and across the business. And this is going to lead to, again, you being stand out, being able to negotiate more raises, showcase more value, etc. And the way we did this is, again, we leveraged spreadsheets for more day-to-day granular numerical tracking. They also chose to leverage TickTick at my advice. And so, and then we set up the TickTick with tagging and reoccurring and those sorts of things all along the way so that they could stay on track. And again, the goal of these systems is to take away the brain power about what am I supposed to be doing? What's next? Where am I going? Right? You just look at it and go, oh, this is what I'm doing next. Boom, focus, execute, done. Tick, what's next? What's next? Tick, right? And you just go down your list and you don't have to think about what's next and you don't miss things. So This can be ultra long vision. It could also be ultra short vision, right? It just really depends on where you're at and what you're capable of. And if you are not in a spot to think quarterly, annually, because you don't have the track record to even plan and execute a successful day or a successful week, that's okay. That's where you start. Just be okay with that aspect. All right. So in conclusion, what we're looking to do here is to treat your life like a business. Have reoccurring strategic review. I call it the CEO day. Leverage the CEO day to look, and you're going to do three things. Reflect on the wins and challenges and the how and the why behind both. You're going to do a goal review and reset. You're going to look at your skill inventory and go, what do I need to upskill, or what do I need to strengthen, or whatever. You're going to do this through a couple different frameworks, potentially whatever works best for you, between a SWOT analysis, journaling, Eisenhower matrix, spreadsheets, whatever. You got a couple different tools here. I recommend TickTick and Excel. I've also used JIRA, Trello. Like I said, I've heard great things about Notion. So there's just a variety of tools out there. Figure out the one that works for you. I highly recommend TickTick because you can really start with the free tier and accomplish a lot. And so this is all just to say this is the time that one day, a month, or a quarter, whatever it is, you pause, you reflect, you adapt, you plan for your next set of executions. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you on Monday to make this plan, to execute your first CEO day. And here's the thing. Is it just for that Monday because you've never done anything like this before? Or is it for the first week? It doesn't matter, right? Start as small as you are capable of doing without being overwhelmed, and build the habit in the system to do so. But the sooner you get this started, and the sooner that you take your strategy and your vision and your goals and turn them into the actionable steps that you can measure, did you do them or did you not, and why, that's going to lead to your consistent success, because consistency trumps intensity every single time. If you have any feedback, if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I appreciate you joining me today. If you like this type of content, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I look forward to it. Have a great day. Thank you.